Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thank you so much for joining us. More than a dozen years ago, WJBF and our Giving Your Best partners presented an award to a young woman in Aiken for her advocacy for people with lupus. She herself had been diagnosed back in 2004 when she was in high school. Flash forward to 2023, and her nonprofit Crowning Lupus is celebrating 10 years of serving the community and providing resources to people with lupus disease. Crowning Lupus hosted an end-of-the-year program recently celebrating their mentor students and scholarship recipients. Councilwoman Gail Diggs and other Aiken City officials presented the organization with the keys to a new facility. Crowning Lupus has been working to spread lupus awareness across the CSRA for a decade now. The first walk started in 2014.
So Crowning Lupus, we like to bridge the gap of access and availability to those battling lupus. But for us, it goes a little bit more deeper because we are really committed to making an impact in the community. So from back to school events to our mentoring program, which is the students that were presented today.
We just want to educate kids and young ladies about how to treat themselves and how they should dress and stuff.
Another important focus for Crowning Lupus is resources concerning mental and financial health. Jade Nealious is the founder of Crowning Lupus. You just saw her in that video with a pretty gold flower on. Jade, it is always a pleasure to spend time with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And good luck getting out of here with those earrings because I love them. Yes, they're fabulous. But you know, that's your thing, Crowning Lupus, and purple is your color.
Right.
And I want to bring our audience up to speed. You were diagnosed with lupus as a teenager.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed in 2004. And literally I had never heard of lupus. Nobody in my family had heard it, not even, I was in high school. And a lot of people thought I was faking when I first started exhibiting those symptoms. And so when I got diagnosed, mine was one of those rare stories because we just thought it was because I was competing competitively. And you're throwing up girls twice your size, so you assume it's that. And I went to a sports med doctor, and he said, hey, your blood work doesn't look right, but I don't really have the tools. I'm gonna refer you to a good friend of mine. And I've literally been with Dr. Field since I was 14 years old.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. You know, we were talking about, you didn't see Jade walk in, but today she's using a cane. Herbert is your cane?
Yes,
is that
Herbert.
right? Herbert is the cane. And I was saying to you, anybody just looking at you would have no idea about the physical challenges that you face because lupus is an autoimmune disease.
Right. It's one of those things that's like we call it the mass thriller. And it's because you can look at someone, I mean, people look at me all the time, and because I'm always laughing or smiling, or even today, they're like, oh, she's fine, nothing's wrong, and have no clue that I have an internal battle going on. And, you know, like even days like today, it is a struggle to just get out of bed. You know, just last year I was immobile, so I went from being majority about 8 months immobile to using a walker and to now on my cane. And when I got past the 3 months, I said, okay, we're gonna name this cane because he has become a part of me. And so we're gonna name it. But you know, so many face the same thing. You know,
and that's the awareness that you've wanted to raise,
right.
And that's what Crowning Lupus, as such a young woman, to be able to found Crowning Lupus and the walks that you've done to raise awareness. You know, what was it that made you decide I have to be an advocate here for myself and for others?
I think it was because people didn't know. And so a lot of times people wouldn't even, you know, like my close family and friends, you know, they believed what's going on. But a lot of times it was, I needed a cane for someone to say I was sick. You know, we live in a society where you don't look sick. And then I said, well, what does sick look like? And so let me raise awareness so that you can see someone could be looking fine and nothing wrong. You don't have to be with a cane or in the hospital to have something going on. And it's so many autoimmune warriors. And that made me say, okay, I need to bring awareness to the CSRA because at that time, we just didn't have enough people talking about lupus, being educated about lupus.
Right. And a lot of times it's a struggle to decide, is this lupus or is it rheumatoid arthritis?
Right, because I have
Which is
both.
another autoimmune disease.
Exactly, and I have both. And so most of the time you will not meet a lupus warrior who does not have something else going on. And a lot of times when things are going on, you will just automatically say, it's my lupus. And it could be something totally different.
Does stress impact how you feel?
Yes,
I mean,
tremendously.
do you have to really be mindful about relaxation, exercises or whatever?
Yeah, you have to be very intentional about that. And like stress, but mental health is a huge thing. A lot of people don't associate your mentality with how your body is feeling. But for autoimmune warriors, you don't have a choice. You have to, because if you're stressed, it's a trigger for your body. If your mental health is not where it needs to be, it's a trigger for your body.
Well, tell me about the exciting thing with Gail Diggs the other day. Who was wearing a purple blouse? Did you notice that?
Yes.
Oh, on theme. We love a theme. Go, Gail. What were the keys they presented you to?
With the facility.
Presented to you.
Well, with the facility, we have been praying for a facility space since we started back in 2013, and it just meant so much for all of the hard work that my team has put in 365 days a year for the last decade. And so now we have somewhere where we can make sure, instead of having to do virtual or come in, we can have our survivors come to us to receive all of the services that we do. We can have our meetings there. A lot of the outreach that we do, we can host it at this facility. And so when I say it's like huge for us, it's an understatement, because it was really a need and a necessity for us.
Now, the girls that you're mentoring and the scholarships that were given, they're not necessarily lupus.
No, they're not. So in giving back to Crowning Lupus, my family has always been big on community service, and my sister is an educator, and so I named a scholarship after her, and it became a program under Crowning Lupus. And then we have always mentored students, especially through our scholarship. And so I said, you know what? I think it's time that we go ahead and put a title on it. And so we actually called it Jody's Treasure, because my grandmother calls me Jody Wally.
Okay.
And so I said, okay, I'm my grandma's baby and they're our babies. So they're Jody's Treasure.
It's fantastic. Jade Nealious is one of the women here in the CSRA who is just making such a difference. And she's doing it as she copes with her own challenges. And Jade, I'm proud to know you, and if you want to know more about Jade or how you can get involved with Crowning Lupus or learn more about lupus, all you have to do, if you Google Crowning Lupus, listen, it's gonna fly up there. There's plenty of things about Crowning Lupus, and you'll be able to get in touch with her that way. Jade, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Merry Christmas.
Yes, I'm ready for the holidays.
Coming up next, Elvis is in the building. We've got a visit with Tony Howard, Elvis, and another surprise guest as he promotes his upcoming fundraiser for Safe Homes of Augusta. Stay with us.